Amara Malik prided herself on perfection. 4 years at Titan Edge Tech had trained her to anticipate every need before it was spoken, especially those of her boss, Nathan Cole, the CEO. A man with immaculate suits, zero patience for mistakes, and a reputation for expecting more than humanly possible. She'd learned his habits like second nature. His coffee was always black, his meetings started precisely on time, and his emails demanded responses faster than most people could type. But that morning, perfection was the last thing on her mind. Her mother's latest dialysis treatment had ended just hours earlier. The hospital's fluorescent lights had burned through the night, and Amara had sat beside the bed, holding her mother's frail hand, watching the monitors beep in rhythm with her exhaustion. She hadn't slept, she hadn't eaten, but she still showed up to work, determined not to falter. By 8 a.m., she was at her desk, typing up the final version of the quarterly performance report, a document that Nathan wanted before noon for the board meeting. Numbers blurred before her tired eyes, and she rubbed her temple. When she finally attached the file and hit send, relief flooded her. She could breathe again, until her phone buzzed. Bank notification, your payment of $0 has been processed. Outstanding hospital bill, $3,842. Amara frowned. She'd planned to forward that bill to her insurance coordinator. She opened her email to do just that, and froze. The sent email to Nathan, subject line, Q3 performance report, final, had an attachment. But not the report. The file name made her stomach drop. Hospital_bill_Amara_Malik.pdf. Oh no, she clicked, recall message, in a panic, but the email had already been opened. Her chest tightened. Nathan Cole did not tolerate carelessness. Once, she'd seen him fire an executive for sending a client the wrong invoice. And this wasn't a small mistake, this was her private medical information, laid bare before him. 30 excruciating minutes passed. Every tick of the wall clock was a thunderclap. She rehearsed her apology in her head, professional, concise, remorseful. Maybe she'd survive this. Maybe. Then her computer pinged. New email from Nathan Cole. Subject. Q3 performance report, final. Her throat went dry as she clicked it open. 3 words stared back at her. Greater than, it's taken care of. Attached was a hospital payment confirmation, paid in full. Amara blinked, disbelief making her dizzy. He'd paid it. He, the CEO who never so much as smiled at birthdays or staff parties, had just paid her mother's hospital bill, without a single question. Her fingers trembled as she reread the message. This had to be a mistake. Maybe he meant something else. Maybe his assistant did it automatically. But Nathan Cole didn't make mistakes. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from him directly. Greater than Nathan, come to my office. Her stomach twisted into knots. She gathered herself, took a breath, and walked down the corridor, every click of her heels echoing off the glass walls. Colleagues glanced up as she passed, whispering, probably guessing she was in trouble again. When she entered Nathan's office, he stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, the city skyline painting him in morning light. He didn't look angry, just unreadable. Sit, he said simply. She obeyed, her voice barely a whisper. Mr. Cole, I am so sorry for the mistake. I didn't mean to. He raised a hand, silencing her. I know it was an accident. Amara blinked. Then, the payment. I saw the bill, he interrupted. You've been juggling more than anyone here should. I couldn't ignore it. Her eyes widened. You didn't have to do that. I know. He leaned against the desk, arms folded. But I wanted to. Amara's breath hitched. There was no trace of his usual coldness in that tone. It wasn't pity, it was something quieter. Compassion buried under layers of control. She didn't know what to say. Gratitude tangled with embarrassment in her chest. I'll pay you back, she murmured quickly. Every cent. A faint smile, the kind she'd never seen before, flickered across his face. You won't. Her mouth opened, but no words came. Nathan turned to the window, staring out at the skyline. You remind me of someone, he said after a moment. My sister. She worked herself to the bone to keep our family afloat after our father died. Never asked for help, not once, until it was too late. His voice softened. You don't have to carry everything alone, Amara. Silence filled the room. She felt the weight of his words, and the sincerity behind them. The man everyone feared had just revealed something deeply human. I didn't know, she whispered. You weren't supposed to, he said, a trace of wryness in his voice. I don't exactly advertise my personal life. She managed a small, shaky smile. That's an understatement. For the first time, he chuckled, quietly, but it was there. The ice cracked just enough for warmth to show through. He walked back to his desk and picked up a folder. Take the rest of the day off. Go be with your mother. I'll handle the board meeting. Amara stared at him, stunned. You'll handle it, but the report. He gave her a knowing look. You emailed me your hospital bill, Amara. I think we can both agree you need sleep more than I need a spreadsheet. A laugh escaped her, light, unexpected, and real. It broke the tension completely. As she rose to leave, she paused by the door. Thank you, she said quietly. He nodded. You've earned it. That evening, Amara sat by her mother's bedside again, watching the older woman sleep peacefully. For the first time in weeks, she didn't feel the crushing weight of anxiety. She didn't know how to repay what Nathan had done, maybe she never could. But she knew one thing: kindness often hides in the unlikeliest of people. The next morning, when she returned to work, a single note sat on her desk in neat handwriting. Greater than, welcome back. Next time, triple check your attachments. NC. She smiled, a genuine one this time, and tucked the note into her planner. Maybe perfection wasn't the most important thing after all. Maybe grace was. Amara Malik had built her career on precision. For 4 years, she had been the quiet, capable executive assistant to Nathan Cole, Titan Edge Tech's famously stoic CEO. Nathan was brilliant, composed, and ruthlessly efficient. He didn't tolerate delays, excuses, or human error. And yet, on that gray Monday morning, Amara's world tilted on its axis. She'd spent the night at the hospital with her mother, who was battling chronic kidney failure. The smell of antiseptic still clung to her clothes as she rushed into the office. Despite the sleepless night, she forced herself through the motions: coffee, computer, and the final edits to the company's quarterly performance report, the document Nathan needed before noon. She typed through exhaustion, eyes burning as numbers and charts blurred together. Finally, at 10:47 a.m., she attached the file, typed Q3 performance report, final, and hit send. She slumped back, relief washing over her, until her phone buzzed. Bank notification: your payment of $0 has been processed. Outstanding hospital bill, $3,842. The reminder stung. She opened her downloads folder to find the PDF, meaning to forward it to her insurance coordinator. But then, something in her inbox made her blood run cold. The email to Nathan, the one she'd just sent, had an attachment. But not the report. Hospital_bill_Amara_Malik.pdf. Her pulse skyrocketed. Oh no, she tried to recall the message, but it was too late. The status showed, read. Nathan Cole had opened it. Every nerve in her body screamed panic. She imagined the look on his face, the furrowed brow, the clipped tone, the disappointment. This wasn't just a minor error, it was personal, unprofessional, humiliating. Half an hour crawled by. She stared at her monitor, barely breathing. Then, ping, email from Nathan Cole. Subject: Q3 performance report, final. Her hands shook as she clicked. There were only 3 words. Greater than, it's taken care of. Attached was a hospital receipt. Balance: $0. Her mind blanked. Nathan Cole, the most emotionally distant man she'd ever met, had paid her mother's hospital bill. Why? She didn't even know what to feel: gratitude, embarrassment, confusion. Before she could make sense of it, her phone buzzed again. Greater than Nathan, come to my office. Her heart dropped. When she entered, Nathan was standing by the window, sleeves rolled up, skyline behind him. He didn't look angry, but he didn't look pleased, either. Mr. Cole, I am so sorry, she began, voice trembling. It was a mistake. He cut her off. I know. Her eyes widened. Then why? I saw the bill, he said quietly. And I handled it. Her throat went dry. You didn't have to. I wanted to. Part 2. What he meant. Silence filled the office. Amara struggled to meet his gaze. She couldn't comprehend what had just happened. Nathan Cole, the man who once reprimanded a director for being 3 minutes late, had not only forgiven her but had paid for something deeply personal. Mr. Cole, she said finally, I'll pay you back. Every cent. He shook his head. You won't. Her voice faltered. I can't accept this. It isn't. He turned from the window to face her. His tone softened, something human breaking through the usual steel. You remind me of someone. She blinked. Someone. My sister, he said. She worked herself into the ground after our father died. Wouldn't take help, ever. Thought independence was the only proof of strength. He paused, eyes distant. She passed away 3 years ago. Kidney failure. Amara's breath caught. The words hit her like a whisper of fate. Nathan looked back at her, his expression unreadable. When I saw your mother's bill, I couldn't ignore it. Some debts, he said quietly, aren't financial. For the first time, Amara saw him, not as her impossibly demanding boss, but as a man who carried his own quiet grief. Her throat tightened. I'm sorry, she said softly. He nodded once. You don't need to be. The rest of the day moved in a haze. Nathan told her to take the afternoon off, something he had never done. She resisted, but he was firm. Go, be with her, he said. Work will wait. At the hospital, Amara sat by her mother's bedside, watching her sleep peacefully. For the first time in months, the fear of unpaid bills wasn't gnawing at her. She thought of Nathan, the man everyone feared, and wondered how many sides of him the world had never seen. The next morning, she returned to work early, determined to prove she was still capable. When she reached her desk, she found a small envelope waiting for her. Inside was a single note in neat handwriting. Greater than, welcome back. Triple check your attachments next time. NC. Amara smiled, really smiled, for the first time in weeks. Days passed, and their dynamic subtly shifted. Nathan still demanded excellence, but his tone softened around her. Once, during a late evening at the office, he brought her coffee, black, the way he liked it. Try it, he said. It grows on you. She laughed. I'll stick with cappuccinos, thank you. A flicker of amusement crossed his face, a rare sight. Suit yourself. From that day, their conversations carried a quiet warmth, not flirtation, but understanding. A rare bond forged not from power or pity, but from empathy. Months later, during a company town hall, Nathan addressed the staff about Tetonedge's new initiative, Employee Health and Family Support Fund. He glanced briefly in Amara's direction as he said, no one should ever have to choose between doing their job and caring for someone they love. The room erupted in applause. Amara felt tears sting her eyes. No one knew it had started with one wrong attachment, and one man's decision to make it right. That evening, as she passed his office, Nathan looked up from his computer. Heading out, she smiled. Yes, my mother's home now, doing better. Good, he said simply. Then, after a pause, you did well today. Thank you, she replied. And, thank you for everything. He gave a small nod. Just keep sending the right files. Amara laughed as she stepped out of his office. But as she walked down the hallway, her smile lingered, not because of the mistake she'd made, but because of what it had revealed. That behind even the coldest facade, kindness sometimes waits for an accident to show itself.